well, we'll kick this thing off. Everybody,
it's been a crazy week.
It's been a crazy week. It really has. It really has been a crazy week. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Just SATS, where we talk about mainly Bitcoin and things that impact Bitcoin. That's why it's called Just SATS, and we also give away some sats. So I'd love to introduce my amazing co-host, Matt. Peace.
I feel like the Ed McMahon of Bitcoin. Yes.
You do?
Yes, you are correct, sir. Yes.
Nice.
People who listen to that.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, for those that are listening for the first time, this is a little bit more casual of a show, but we do talk straight about Bitcoin. We'll give you a history, kind of fun facts about Bitcoin and crypto, as well as we'll run through what's happened throughout the week, talk about some trivia, and let you go on your way.
Or we will do none of that because we could just go totally off topic, and who knows where this thing will end up. So we kind of have an idea, but who knows? It just might be a total, train wreck. So let's go for it.
Let's do it. How about the topic that's probably on everybody's mind, and that's Bitcoin going from 7,600 just last week to just over 9,100 right now. Pretty interesting.
Got some legs, as they say.
It does.
Room to the upside.
It does. It's things really started to take off on, I want to say it was like Wednesday or Thursday, right around when the Fed started talking again. So it's holding its value, right? Like, we have people.
I think it's becoming the new narrative is that it is sustaining value, increasing in value, and as we've longed for so long, a decoupling of it.
Yeah.
You kind of see that happen.
Right.
Or maybe that's just the bourbon. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, so here's what's interesting, right? So the Dow was, close to 30,000. The Dow went down. Everything went down. Bitcoin went down in half, essentially. Actually, it went down as far as 3,800 or so, and then kind of popped back up to 5. And it's slowly been increasing, and here we are at 9,000. While everything else was kind of going up and down by a couple thousand in the stock market, Bitcoin was kind of slowly going up. It hovered around 7,000 for a little bit. Now we've come up. So
right.
Yeah,
I think the thing that you see that when you talk about even just recovery from the Black Swan event that we had here in March, Bitcoin already recovering off the bottom, all of that, and now we're seeing positive gains. So I've watched a lot of CNBC in the past few weeks, so I learned a lot of terms. So I felt ready for tonight's show. But that's what's kind of been happening is that we've definitely picked up those losses, recouped that, and we're moving to the happy. So I like that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, right? And what's happened, and you probably actually know this a little bit more than I do, but what's happened in every single halving is there's been a significant gain in the price of Bitcoin after a couple months, right? And so the most recent one being when it went up to the all-time high. So I think there's going to be some interesting things that happen.
The one thing I do think, I was you've spoken to our friend, the lovely and talented Matty Greenspan.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Smart.
Dude, the guy is great.
Super smart.
Yeah, and he was talking on the crypto Twitter, and I chimed in with him, and people are wanting to know. They're asking him because he's a really great guy. He's a smart mind. Hey, what do you think's going to happen? Some of these miners are going to have to, the small ones are going to have to capitulate. They're going to have to sell. They're not going to be able to keep up the price. It's going to be too expensive. So they're going to have to sell. They're not going to be able to buy the new rigs. They're not going to be able to keep up with the big boys. And so when this thing goes up and they see that, they're going to, some of them are going to have to sell. So we might see, maybe it gets to 13 and then it comes back and retraces somewhere around 10, maybe a little below 10. But then after that 30 to 60 day window, then I think, history repeats itself, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we see that, and then put on your spacesuit, Major Tom.
We've had a couple folks in the mining community on here recently.
Yeah.
Chrissy Lee Minahan and some folks at
what did she say? What were her thoughts, really quick? You got 30 seconds. Go.
I mean, she's not one to talk about price, but in terms of like what it does for the mining, right? Like obviously it's going to be harder, as you're saying, and then you're right.
Yeah.
You're very right. Like it's going to be more difficult for some of the smaller mining operations to keep going. And you basically have these machines that are just no longer functional because they don't have the compute power. So they she said something funny. She's like, hey, you know, if you put it in a closet and it grows legs and it walks away, it's probably even easier for you than trying to dispose of it, because I guess they're pretty expensive to kind of dispose of as well. So I think it's really interesting. You know, she brought up some good points. I would agree with her that there's definitely a lot of hype around it as well, right? And so there's definitely a lot of marketability around the halving. You know, by everybody talking about it, there's going to be like having shows and, you know, having like parties and all this kind of stuff.
Well, imagine what it's going to be in 4 years from now. That's why, dude, this is the next one is going to be even more. We're going to have so many more people that have come into the ecosystem that are into the dance. It's going to be their first step. This is mine.
Yeah. Well, and it'll be interesting, right? I mean, to talk, you know, speculate a little bit on that is, you know, arguably the awareness level will be that much higher then, right? Kind of like we were talking about. And so, you know, you won't just have Bitcoin enthusiasts talking about it. You will have it'll be more of an event that's talked about on CNBC.
Yeah.
I know they've talked about it on CNBC, but it's probably going to be the headline over and over and over again, right? And when it happens again. So
that is some serious fucking FUD.
One of the headlines this week was the Fed. Chair Powell. Did you see him? Did you catch his speech? Here, I can summarize. Summarize everything you need to know about the speech from Chairman Powell, basically in one word: brr.
What's really interesting is that, like, at what point do we start to really feel it, right? So right now, I mean, don't get me wrong, people are obviously feeling it because there's a lot of people who've lost jobs and a lot of people who are stuck on, you know, or don't have a lot of funds right now, right? But I guess what I'm saying is, like, when we start to feel like what that inflation actually looks like, right? When people start to notice like cost of goods are more expensive, or like you're basically what you're doing just is not going you as far. And then it's like, oh yeah, we probably shouldn't have done those things, right? And, you know, I think it's not to over talk about COVID and coronavirus, but like, I mean, that's definitely still a concern for people.
Do it.
You know, it's definitely still a concern, and it's more on the lines of, you know, is it a real thing? Yes, it's a real thing. You obviously have people on different levels of like, hey, we should go back to work. We shouldn't go back to work. You know, frankly, is that there's a lot of people that aren't going to want to be traveling, right? And so I think ultimately it's even if it gets under control, which it's not looking like it would because of the fact that there's no vaccine that can be used right away. And the reason why numbers are lower is because no one's doing anything, right? People are
testing.
Right, and testing, and then people staying home. So, you know, I just think you're going to find people that are going to be a lot less likely to do, you know, those sort of things like going out in public. So, because of that, those are things that affect the economy. I'm really interested and curious for Q2 numbers from companies, just because I think that obviously they're going to be much lower, but than whatever was projected. But I think once that actually comes out, people will be like, oh yeah, this really has affected the economy, right? Yeah,
that's
it's
like the weirdest juxtaposition. Is like we have the highest unemployment numbers in history that people are filing for, but yet the stock market has like its best week since like 1987, right? So you tell me, like, this is just not. It does not make sense.
Well, right, and it shows that there's no correlation between economic strength and the market, right? Like that, they're just two different things, and it kind of shows you the stock market itself is more. Of course, there's a reflection of the economic strength, but it's also like, how do people overvalue companies to make money off of overvaluing companies? I don't know.
So the story goes, way back in the day, some guy, he's a Bitcoiner, and he's drunk, and he comes home, and he's online, he's getting in some argument with his girlfriend, and apparently he was on Reddit, I believe, and he mistyped, and he hit, he's like, I'm going to hold my Bitcoins forever, right? But he mistyped it, and he hit HODL instead, and everybody in the Reddit, because if you know Reddit, they're a bunch of,
Yeah.
And so it became this thing, and it kind of goes back to one thing that you love, which is the Reddit meme, or the Bitcoin meme culture.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so it grew out of this meme culture, and so as a mistake that apparently a drunk guy made one night after getting in a fight with his girlfriend, meaning to type hold, he hit HODL, and hence years later it was born. That's the urban legend that I heard, and I'm sticking to it because I'm mighty sad.
Yeah, I heard it was like, some sort of typo. I didn't know it was that far about it though.
Bitcoin trivia question today is there a unit smaller than a Satoshi? What would it be? Do you know the answer to this?
I do know the answer to it. There is a unit smaller than a Satoshi, and frankly, I believe we will need a unit smaller than a Satoshi at some point.
Do you want to give like a multiple choice, or do you want to just leave it like that?
Let's leave it like that maybe this time. We'll see how that goes.
Right. Just see like that. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So what is the unit? What is the unit smaller than a Satoshi?
I'll give them a hint. It's being used right now on the Lightning Network. 50K Satoshi giveaway.
50K Satoshi giveaway. All right. Well, round 2 in the books. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for doing this, and together, this is the best ever.
Cheers.